Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Zappelli, and welcome to the WALT Wines Happy Hour. We're happy to have you today in a beautiful Sonoma County. It was where I'm sitting today, enjoying a really nice late summer, beautiful time to be up here. We've actually harvested all the grapes, unfortunately, but there's plenty of time to come up and see it. Our winemakers working and putting together all the individual lots. This is really when you can start to smell the wine fermenting in the valley. So we encourage you to come visit any of our properties before it gets too cold and it gets a little dark, although that's still a nice time to come. But this is really when you start to see the leaves turn, and really it's our opportunity to show off to our guests and all the new wines. Also, a couple of things going on. We're getting ready for the holidays, so keep in mind those wines you're going to need for Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know if you're like me, but my family comes, and when my family comes, I have to buy a lot of wine. So there's plenty of time for you to do that as well. And then also be thinking about the holidays for checking into either gifts or, giving your family things to do. I have already started my tour for when my family comes, and I hope that you will plan some of your trips to see Hall, WALT, or Baca wines. But enough about that. We have continued to have some incredible guests come on, some wine-loving guests who have just been, surrounding my lives for, when I was growing up throughout my 20s. And today is one of those people. You know him as Kevin from the famous series, The Office. His real name is Brian Baumgartner. Not only is he a hilarious actor, but he's also a scratch golfer and a fantastic chef out with a new book called The Chili Cook-Off. Seriously good, The Chili Cookbook. Please welcome Brian Baumgartner.
What's up? How's it going?
Man?
How are you, Jeff? Cheers to you from Southern California. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, man. Thanks so much for coming on. You're in your new house? You getting comfortable?
I am. I'm not going to give you my address right now, but maybe later, depending on how this goes.
Sure. Well, I'll bring a lot of wine if that happens. How's that
perfect.
sound?
Perfect.
That's good. That's good. Well, hey, how's everything going? What's going on in your life? Obviously, you've got a book tour going on. What does the world of Brian Baumgartner look like right now?
Well, it's been a little hectic. Yeah, we launched this book a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm heading back to New York tomorrow. I'm going to go see a couple of college campuses, do a little show for them, and do some more signings for the book. So I'm excited about that. And well, it's football season now too, so that occupies my off time for sure.
Oh, and I think you're a Packers fan.
I am. Right? That's right.
All
right.
Go Pack, go. All right. Well, so that's a labor of love, I guess, right? Do you have season tickets up there?
No. I try to get up once or twice a year and for the playoffs, but I enjoy it a lot. And honestly, one of my favorite side jobs has become I've become kind of a regular guest and sometime host on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network.
Get out of here.
Is really just for fun. From kind of like this. I like football. I like wine. I come and talk to people about the things that I like and know, very little about. So there you go.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, Charles Woodson, longtime Packer, makes some wine.
That's right.
Good wine, actually. He's been on the top 100 with us a couple times.
Nice.
You have that?
Yes, yes, with him actually.
Fantastic.
So I know we'll probably talk about it in a bit, but he's has been up at the event in Lake Tahoe quite a few years. So, and I'll see him in Green Bay too, occasionally.
That's awesome. Yeah. So just the quick trivia there is he walked through the Hall Winery in 2006, and that's where he got inspired to make wine. A guy named Rick Ruiz showed him around when he was.
Is that right?
Raiders. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's totally true. Ask him about it. Rick Ruiz is his GM, and he used to work for us. So
awesome. That's amazing. Charles is a great guy. And I enjoy his wine. I'm glad to know you and others think it's good as well.
Well, in this industry, there's always a glass. As we were talking about in the pre-show, I could run into wine in pretty much any time of the day, at any moment of the day. So your glass is always ready.
There you go.
All right. Well, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
A lot of people know you for The Office, obviously. You've had you've had a career in acting outside that, but they don't know a couple other things. And so I just have a quick couple rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire. Okay, good.
All right. So here we go. All right. So we're going to start with I think that's a good move. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
All right. So I'm going to start with an easy one.
Okay.
Because you're such a big golfer, what golf tournament do you like best? The American Century in Lake Tahoe because of the elevation, or the AT&T playing at Pebble Beach, right on the ocean?
The American Century Championship is my favorite event of the year. There's no question. There's nothing like it. I said, and I've said to you just before, it is my absolute favorite week of the year.
Yeah.
And it's the most difficult week of the year for me as well. But being able to go out there, well, and just to mention the person that we just did, Charles Woodson and Aaron Rodgers and AJ Hawk, who played for the Packers. I grew up in Atlanta. John Smoltz and Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. To get to know so many of these guys as a big sports fan, being out there competing against them, it kicks my rear end. But
that course is terrible.
And it's really difficult, but it's my favorite week of the year.
Fantastic. Well, I'll just give you a quick plug for next year. They pour our wine at the clubhouse. So it's
at Edgewood.
Yeah, it's called Blue Jay. It's a Pinot Noir from Anderson Valley. So a little more delicate than the wine we're going to taste and talk about, or that we're drinking today.
Right.
Yeah, check it out.
All right. There you go. Fun fact.
All right. Fun fact. All right. Next question. We'll keep these to one-word answers.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Favorite? No, that's cool. I like it. Favorite cast member on The Office? Or you can drink if you don't want to answer.
Myself.
Cheers to you,
I can't. I know one-word answers. I know, but I've said this before, and this actually is true, and I think it will make sense to people. We really were like a family. So, like most people's family, you just have a different relationship with different people. Like your relationship with your mom is different from your sister or your brother or your uncle or whatever. So, we're playing, I think, this year the 18th consecutive year of playing fantasy football.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
But that's writers and it's crew and it's some cast. So like John Krasinski and Rainn Wilson and myself, or at least the principal actors who are involved in that. And so we talk, this time of year, we're texting all the time about football, but Oscar Nunez and I travel a lot together. And anyway, so it's just different relationships with different people.
That's great. So have you won?
I have never won, actually.
And is there a prize?
Thank you for bringing
to buy dinner.
Thank you for bringing that up. There is a cash prize. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. Yeah.
I've only won the winery tournament once. So
one-word answers, Jeff. One-word answers. All right.
You taking over? All right. Next question. How about most useless talent? I know it's not a one-word answer, but I'll give it to you.
Most useless talent. I guess sports facts.
Sports facts. Mine's the ability to rest wine on your head. No, we're not going to do that today. Yeah. No. Good. So there you go. Now you have another useless talent.
I'm going to use that from now on.
You can have it. All right. Celebrity crush. Who's your celebrity crush?
Jack Nicholson. And I don't even go that way, but that's where I go. To me, he's the top. He's the top. So crush, I don't know, but yeah.
Good. I'm good with that. George Clooney for me. So I'll give you that.
There you go.
Go-to karaoke song.
Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing. All right. Excellent.
Journey.
And Bay Area guys. By the way, Buster Posey, Georgia guy, Atlanta, plays at the American Century. I was going to throw that one out there earlier.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. What career would you want if you weren't acting?
Professional athlete. Yeah. That would be it.
Well, you golf, so you can get there.
I don't know. But that would be my answer. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I did want to talk. So I was a diehard Office fan. It's when Lisa, who is our PR manager, told me that you were coming on the show. I lost it. I told all my friends. They're all probably here. They've been texting me all afternoon. I was like, I've got Kevin coming on. So you played Kevin Malone, the accountant in the back office. You stole the show, in countless episodes where you would just come out and do that. We'll talk about the famous chili episode, but what's it like auditioning and then once you're in the show and new characters are coming in and you're auditioning them? What is that like when you're on such a long running successful show?
You mean bringing in like other guest stars and stuff?
Yeah, or I mean, you had new characters that came along the way, including Steve Carell leaving and
right,
Will coming in.
I mean, we struggled out of the gate. I mean, we all felt collectively that we had something special from very early on. Once we found the audience, it was a blast. And it's funny. I through this podcast that I've been doing and other things, I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of guest stars and people who work behind the scenes on the show, and to hear stories like they needed to do multiple takes with Kathy Bates because she was so nervous walking into the office with all of us that her voice was shaking, which is like, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's Kathy freaking Oscar winner Kathy Bates. Amy Ryan, who ended up coming in playing Holly. I mean, she talked about it herself. Like, she was petrified to come in. And probably the coolest story I heard, actually, she was nominated for an Oscar for Gone Baby Gone. And when her agent went to her at that time and said, okay, so now, you probably got a little juice, what would you like to do? Her answer was, I would love to go and be on The Office. And I had never heard that story before. I didn't know that. And I mean, to hear stories like that about these people who wanted to come and play with us for a little while was awesome. Will Ferrell, obviously. I mean, he's not only hilarious and incredibly talented, but an incredible guy. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. So at the winery, the winemaker, myself, the group that's helping produce this show, we've all been working for the winery for a number of years, and bringing a new person in, for such a hugely talented group of people and successful, I can't imagine that's even for the best. You could have Brad Pitt walk in and he'd probably be like trying to figure out what's going on. So, and by the way, I wanted to invite questions from the audience. I forgot to do that at the head. We've got Brian Baumgartner, Kevin Malone from The Office. We did have one question I wanted to add since it's kind of on the same vein. How would you describe The Office to someone who's never seen it? And I want to ask that in two ways: for the show, and then what's it like on set?
If you've never seen The Office, I mean, at this point, look, and I come across people all the time and they are like, I'm so sorry, I've never seen it. And my standard answer to them, which is totally obnoxious, but is always like, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people who do. We're fine. What is The Office? I mean, to me, I don't know if this is, I'll give an answer that I would say would be good for someone who hasn't seen the show and also ones who have. I think for me, The Office at its core and why it is not just survived this many years later. I mean, first of all, let me just say that I don't know that there's another show in the history of television that became bigger and more popular after the show was done. I mean, 8 years now after the show, we have filmed our final scene. Is the most watched show in television today. And how I would describe the show is, it is a funny commentary, a comedic commentary. I've never done this before, by the way, so this is off the top of my head.
Sure.
But that celebrates the beauty in ordinary people.
Yeah, that's actually I would agree. That's what I enjoyed about it, was the characters were familiar to the kind of people that you work with, right? And the common office themes, right? You know, that it was very much like you're a family trying to get through things. So
that's right. And I think that, people aren't always nice to each other. People are in the show. There's some snark. There's some really bad behavior. But I think at the core, the love that the characters, yes, but also that the cast had between each other is palpable.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's why so many people come up and say the show gave them comfort. The show is something they watch before they go to bed. It makes them feel good. Because I think that celebration of ordinary people, finding the beauty in ordinary people doing ordinary things is, you think of a show like Friends,
right?
And it's about incredibly good-looking people who are living a lavish lifestyle in New York City. And maybe your one question is, how did they afford this apartment?
That was always my question.
Right.
But it's like, he's an actor and he lives in a high rise or pretty big apartment.
He's trying to get a job as an actor and he lives in this like 47,000 square foot apartment.
Yeah. Totally.
But yeah, I mean, the actors were ordinary people, and celebrating that at its core, I think is what it was. And I think that one of the differences on that show that from really any other show again is the way the show was shot with the camera moving around.
Yep.
We were all there all the time. And that doesn't happen. It's usually the lead is there. Two characters are there playing one scene together. And so, you're on a television show. Even if you have the biggest part, you may be working 2 or 3 days out of 5.
Yeah.
We were all there all the time.
Every day.
So we were 60, 70 hours a week all together, much like a regular office or more than a regular office. So that was, I would say, that sort of is meant to describe, that was the working environment. It was just totally unique. We were all there all the time, which I think added something as well.
Yeah, it's very much the same as an office, right? Like these are your coworkers. You guys had to go to battle every day to produce an episode. It looked just like an office that was focused on selling paper in the Northeast, and then playing it off in Scranton, I thought was really cool. Just my only question to follow that up, because I thought that was a great way to explain The Office, is would you guys ever do a couple episodes again? Maybe rerun a season?
Jeff, no one's ever asked me that before. What do you mean? You're trying to throw in the question of like the last 5 years. Look, this is my standard answer. My standard answer is my answer because it really is the truth. I think that, and if you're not a fan of The Office, this will totally go over your head. But people say like, are you, would you guys come back? Would you do a reboot? And my answer is, this is a very confusing thing, because if you recall at the end of the show, Michael lives in Colorado. Pam and Jem are in Austin. Kevin, myself, has been fired. Stanley's in Florida. I'm a bar owner.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly is the reboot? Like, where are we coming back to? But I think that what I believe is when Greg Daniels, the creator, has an idea that he thinks is worthy of getting the band back together, I think the band will get back together at some point.
I mean, I could see like just a funny episode about, Dwight having, or, Dwight or Pam and, they have babies, and then if there's a reunion there,
right?
I could think of a number. I mean, I'm just selfishly wanting you guys to get back together to play the song again. So I wanted to take a moment. So from what I understand, you enjoy wine. You enjoy big wines.
Yes.
Big wines, big in flavor and concentration, I think is probably. So I wanted to talk about this wine because you have a new cookbook out. And
I
it was
do.
my job when we heard you were coming to pair a wine with a chili,
I love that.
And so that's what I did. And I'm happy to always do that. And so in order to do that, just so you know, I made chili.
Did you?
I did.
Didn't. Is that an empty pot, or did you really
made Kevin's famous chili? I should say that. Yeah, no, I made a cup of chili.
Okay, there you go.
The recipe that you have in the book calls for the size of chili that you would need to make an entire office's worth of chili.
Yes.
And I kept it just to myself.
So, okay, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. So this is Kevin's famous chili.
Okay.
From that iconic episode where Kevin Malone cooks a cauldron of chili.
That's about the right size. Yeah.
And then spills it. And so when I made it, this has been made, and then I tasted it, made sure it worked. So this is our 2018 Clopepe vineyard from the Santa Barbara County, not too far from the Burbank studios, about 2 hours north of LA. This wine is from, thank you for the pitch. Appreciate that. This wine is a beautiful wine from a hillside vineyard that's right in, actually, have you ever golfed La Purísima in Santa Barbara?
No, but I've heard a lot about it. No. Okay. I have friends up there. I go there a lot. Yeah.
Just up the street from the La Purísima golf course. You got to play it. It's fantastic. Really windy, tough to play. But this is a wine from an area that has a very long hang time. So we can actually allow the grapes to hang. We may have bud break in early March, and we may not actually pick it until October. And for Pinot Noir, that's rare because the skins will typically fall apart or the grapes will fall apart before that happens. Cabernet, as opposed to Cabernet can handle that. It can actually withstand that kind of length and hang. And so we typically want to hang those grapes. So this is a rare appellation. It tends to make wines that have more concentration. They're fuller. And this has got some spice in it. And so I put a little spice in the wine with the chili, and I think it's terrific. So I would highly recommend everybody go out today, get your copy of Seriously Good Chili Cookbook, and grab a bottle of Clopepe Pinot Noir.
Wow, I don't have the chili to taste with it, but I trust you. I'm gonna make it and
I mean, I did this already, but it's pretty good. I will highly endorse Kevin's famous chili.
Wow.
Absolutely. But I want to talk about the book. So you had that iconic episode. I read the intro. Oscar writes you a nice intro as well.
Yes.
But I want to talk about the day that you had, because I didn't know this in the book, or I didn't know this obviously on the show. You filmed this on a Friday, and you had a traditional accountant dinner that you guys went out and did.
Yeah, this is a true story. We would, and we didn't talk about it much at the time, but it was kind, we on The Office, we were in Scranton, Pennsylvania. A lot of dockers and unattractive sport coats were worn by at least me.
Yeah.
And so occasionally Oscar, Angela, and myself, would go have a dinner, and we would go to a great restaurant. We did a variety of different types of food. Probably the steakhouse was our go-to, and we had a reservation on that night at Mastro's in Beverly Hills for the three of us to just go. No girlfriends or boyfriends, no spa. It was just the three of us. We would go and drink as much wine as we could and get Ubers home. And and I can't remember if I exactly described this in the book, but I will share it for flavor. Yeah. Oscar Nunez is an idiot, and he would order a seafood tower, like a giant seafood tower,
as they do in those steakhouses.
Yeah, that nobody ever really gets unless you have 14 people. But he would always do it. And Angela and I were just sort of ambivalent about that always.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we filmed the scene at the end of the day on a Friday in case we needed some extra time to clean up over the weekend or get the smell out of there.
I have the book, and
that was it right there. And so I was obviously there by myself. So Oscar and Angela got to go home and shower and get ready to go out. And I was there working, and we got it done in one take, which thankfully now I can say that, because now I'm asked so much about it, and not say like 7, which would just at this point be embarrassing.
Well, there were only 3 carpets, you said, and so you had to nail it.
Yes, there were 3 gigantic pieces of carpet, and by pieces of carpet I mean, like, you know, the office space was not small. So I mean, I don't 1,000 square foot of carpet. I mean, I don't know, like a big carpet that came through the entryway and all that stuff. And they had 3 pieces that they had cut that they could quickly, you know, basically put down, or take off and put another one down over the carpet that was there. And they only had 3, and they had a plan in place for cleaning the office. They obviously had a lot of extra chili sitting around. They had multiple outfits, but I don't think that they really understood the job it was going to be to clean me.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
my physical body, like my skin. And so we didn't have this all the time, but we had the capability when there was kind of a big scene that we needed to watch, to be able to in real time kind of watch it back.
Right.
I remember after doing it and feeling like it went well.
Yeah.
Walking over to the monitor and standing behind the director and the producer, and everybody was there.
Yeah.
To decide if we needed to go again. And as this is happening, the dressers, the wardrobe people are peeling clothes off of me. I mean, like working hard to get clothes off of my body as I'm standing there just dripping everywhere. And I'm thinking, please say we have it. Please say we have it. We got it. We're good. I then showered with more people than I ever have in my life at one time, like trying to get chili off of things.
Because you're about to go out to dinner at Mastro's.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go to dinner at Mastro's. Anyway, I show up probably slightly late. I don't specifically remember, but of course there's a seafood tower. And I do very specifically remember like grabbing a shrimp or whatever, and just all I could taste, smell, everything was just chili. It was just chili. And I have to say, Kevin was very proud of his chili, and the chili you know described making is great tasting. Let me just say this, you know, it is television. The chili that was in that bowl was not that. Or in the pot was not that.
What was it say? So what do they use for chili as a prop? Because like,
you know, I don't want to endorse anyone, but I think I have finally come out and admitted that in the actual pot that was spilled, it was a canned chili. Let's just put it that way. Yes. Without naming the brand. But
it was a real chili, like, because you know,
it was chili, but it was chili.
They use all kinds of things to do wine.
So. That is right. No, it wasn't like colored water or, you know, whatever. Like what would be a wine or what do they use? Like
well, they use apple juice, and sometimes they'll water down apple juice to make white wine, because it'll keep that hue.
They typically use flat ginger ale for like scotch. Something like that.
Well, that tastes good, at least.
It's all right. Maybe a little slightly watered down. I don't know. It's not that great. But yeah, so that was my dinner experience, and my hands were stained like an orange brown color. Yeah, for several days. Yeah.
For us in the world of wine, it's just you're stained. It's purple. So you're going, like, if you've been working with grapes all day, you're just going to dinner, and you know your teeth are purple and your hands are purple. So you can hit Mastro's anytime. But I've been to the Beverly Hills Mastro's. It's a great spot.
Yeah, it is.
And it's got a lot of funny Jack Nicholson. So I did want to talk more about the book, because you were doing a book tour. The cool part about it is it's like 10 recipes, I think, that you created, or at least you had some help with friends created. And then there's white chili, or like white bean chili. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Is this what's your opinion on this?
That's chili. Yes. I mean, that's the thing is I was invited last year. I just went back like a couple of weeks ago, but to the World Championship Chili Cook-Off, which is a thing. It's happened over 50 years. And so everyone who's competing there,
you
they're
talk about it in the book.
Yeah, they're all champions. And I went to the ICS, the International Chili Society.
Yep.
And they gave me permission to use world champion recipes in this book. So there are tons of recipes in there that are champions. And one of the things a year ago and part of the inspiration for this was I tasted a smoked chicken. It's on page 86. I don't know what picture you're showing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Chuck Edwards. It is a smoked chicken, white bean chili that I had at this competition. And I think, chili is tomato based, maybe beans.
Yeah, meat, I don't know if I agree with this white bean chili thing.
I'm telling you, I've now made that one 3 times. It is spectacular. It is spectacular. And in fact, I drank
I was going to ask you what the wine that you drink that with.
Yeah, it was something very white and light. Maybe a Savvy Bee or something. I don't remember. Something like that. But it has a great spice. It's a just delicious chili. And so that was it. There are 177 recipes in this book. All of them are different.
Yeah.
There's pumpkin. There's vegetarian. There's a mezcal one. It's crazy.
Veggie chili face melter.
Face melter.
That one scares me.
Yes, me too. Actually, I don't go the super spicy. I let somebody else taste those and say, "All right, if you put the warning on, I'll let it go in." But yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, actor to author, right? So, what was, I guess, more fun?
Well, I consider myself an actor, though. I had a previous book came out actually last year. By the way, if you're ever interested or thinking about writing a book, don't do 2 books within like 1 year of each other. It's way too much.
Yeah.
But my first book, Welcome to Dunder, Mifflin.
Okay. Yeah.
I have said this now in my introductions. People don't have to mention that I've won an Emmy or SAG awards. They just have to say New York Times bestselling author because it makes me sound smart. That's it. That's the only reason. So I celebrate that more only because it makes me feel smart.
Well, massively accomplished actor and New York Times bestseller, right? Like
well, there you go. Well, that's kind, but
yes. We the owners of the winery, so Catherine and Craig wrote a book about their journey in wine called The Perfect Score. And I'll just, I'll throw that out. And they got New York Times bestseller, and that was fun. So it's a cute story. We'll send you a book. So we do have the traditional question for you about chili that's coming in from Facebook, it looks like. Do you have any in the recipes in the book for chili without beans? And my follow-up question to Natalie's question is, do you prefer it with or without beans?
Okay, so so that was when we started this. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, there are 2 types of chili, right? There's chili with beans or without beans, and obviously our friends in Texas,
right,
they cannot have beans. I like both.
Okay.
I probably slightly prefer, but maybe it's just because I actually grew up in Georgia, and we do use beans there. My recipe is not incredibly bean heavy, but does have 2 different types of beans, both kidney beans and pinto beans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like both. Okay. I like both. I think that the takeaway is because I was at a book signing.
Yeah.
And someone came up and they, wanted me to sign the book, and they were like, I'll make this for my kids. I'm a vegetarian. And I'm like, oh no, ma'am. Yeah. There are vegetarian recipes in here as well. There are vegan.
There are great vegan, vegetarian chilies. I've had them.
That's right.
They're fantastic.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's really the takeaway. I mean, we had a lot of fun talking about, in the book and some of the sections that were more anecdotal about, different, Cincinnati chili. If you're familiar, they eat it with pasta.
Yeah.
So spaghetti in the bottom.
Right.
So there's so many different kinds, but I think that even if you have a favorite, I think that what is cool, and again, this was a discovery for me.
Yeah.
Going there, just how many different kinds that I'm like, is this chili? Well, of course it's chili. I mean, it kind of has a spice and it's hearty and it's not a soup. And, but yeah, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I think I love the fact that there are so many great chilies in this book, because I'm a huge fan of chili. And what I love about it is you make it, you can do it in a big pot, you can freeze it, you can bring it back out.
That's right.
Take it to the office if you want to have it. I mean, that's the episode that we needed the follow-up on, was the day that everyone brought chili to the office. I could just see the writers going crazy with that one.
I look, I think, maybe up there in Sonoma, it might be still a little early, but yeah, I think when again, as a football fan, at least, but that fall time gathering with family, and friends, either around football or something else, it's a great communal thing. I think that a friend of mine actually said, what if the writers had written that you bring in a pot of clam chowder? Like, it wouldn't be the same.
No,
it wouldn't be the same, I think. But I think that the culture around it, it was sort of a brilliant choice by them, because it is something that people get passionate about. Yeah. And I think that, as I said before, not to get cheesy, but I think ultimately the show is a celebration of small victories for ordinary people who get celebrated in certain ways. And this is one of those ways. And look, being at these cook-offs and the culture around it, the communal culture around it, I think is great.
I mean, I love cook-offs, period. I love going to cook-offs, whether it's, Tillamook's, they did a great macaroni and cheese cook-off, or, entry, deviled eggs. We've done challenges at the winery, right? Like, we do have an office environment, and so we do things just like they do that you played in the office. And we did a burger, we did a deviled egg. Chili sounds like the next thing that we should do.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to. So you mentioned that you can be on tour. I know you're going to be out doing some book signings. I want to give you a chance to tell people where they can find you and where they can pick up a book. Oh, look, I had a big northeastern swing. Was in New York. We went to Barnes and Noble at 30 Rock or the NBC store there, and Barnes and Noble there, and Drexel and Philly, and we went back to Scranton. I went back to Scranton. That was a lot of fun. I'm doing a couple of colleges this weekend, which I'm sure no one is allowed there. But there'll be some other stuff. There won't be fine wine at those.
There will not be fine wine there. But yeah, it's I think we're gonna come back to New York and do a couple of other things this fall. But I just want people to enjoy it. Really, it was really fun for me to put together, and people seem to really be liking it. And it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, and you did a great job. This book is awesome. This is Brian Baumgartner's Seriously Good Chili Cookbook. You can see I don't have a future in this. Jimmy Kimmel can keep his job, clearly. But yeah, Brian, thank you so much for coming on today. I always love to just make sure that I invite you, your friends, the cast. I was responsible for the wine for one of the pre-Emmys tastings in 2009. And Jenna came through, Angela came through, a couple of the
Really? Where was this? Where was this?
Oh, so well, if you got a second. So so it was Melanie Siegel is the name of the PR person, and it was pre-Emmys, and you guys were up for an Emmy. I think it was 09 was your first Emmy, right? That you guys won?
I think we won before that, but we were certainly up then.
You would have been up. And so they called us and they wanted us to do the wine. And so my wife and I came down, and she was pregnant with our first child. And I think Angela was also pregnant at the time. And I've got a picture of her and Angela, no wine in the picture, but having a glass of our Catherine Hall Cabernet Sauvignon, which is our, the signature wine that just released in our Hall portfolio. So, and a big Cabernet, I think something that you would probably get down on. So yeah, that was my, like, whoa, cool office. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was
fun. Yeah. Well, I truly, this, we talked before, I love big wines, and the depth and personality on this is just really delicious with a little spice. So I'm really enjoying it.
Well, I got 11 other Pinot Noirs here at the winery, and we've got some Cabernet and some Zinfandel. So we're passionate about bold, flavorful wines. So I hope that you and your friends and bring the whole cast up. We'll do some chili. How's that sound?
Awesome. That sounds perfect.
Very cool. Hey, Brian Baumgartner, thank you for joining us on the Walt Wines Happy Hour, and appreciate your time. And I look forward to seeing you at Edgewood next year.
Cheers, Jeff. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Brian. Thanks again. Cheers. Okay, so that's literally, now I can relax, because one of the things that I didn't say to Brian, and I hope he's still here, is for those of you who watched The Office, you just felt better about life after you watched it. So wanted to thank Brian for coming on the show today. Want to encourage all of you to go either online and shop, pick up the Seriously Good Chili Cookbook, and then you can go to waltwines.com and pick up our 2018 Clos Pepe. It's available now. We've got some incredible holiday specials going online right now too. And of course, the best way to experience our wine is to come and visit us at the tasting rooms. So thank you everyone for coming today. We hope that you're all going to be well and drink well. Cheers to all of you.